So I want to talk about something really quickly for a few minutes that just started thinking about. And it's when you're trying to start a new phase of your life. Um, I see why it was necessary that it's really nobody really from my past. Whether it's high school, I don't talk to any family members anymore. Not one. I don't talk to any family members at all. But now that wasn't always necessarily something that I had planned on doing. Things happened why I had to stop talking to them. Okay, one part of my family, obviously I had to let them go because they were dangerous. It doesn't matter what anybody else say, even though they can touch you without you being near them. You don't want to be close to them either. And you certainly don't want people who are dangerous to you. You don't want them trying to get in your head. Okay? You don't want that happening either. But when you need to start a new phase of your life and get rid of everything that is old and remove out everything that you ever known, that you ever learned, and I'm talking about all kinds of habits and patterns, it's almost like you have to release a majority of your family, if not all. You have to pretty much release everybody that cannot let go of patterns. I talked about this nickname that I've had growing up that I do not want to be called anymore. Let's just say my nickname was Sue. That's just a fake name. Let's say my nickname was Sue. Well, I discovered in 2017 that this nickname was actually not just any old nickname. It's an actual entity. It's a very low vibrational entity that has been attached to me since I was little. And I was going along since I was a little girl with my name being Sue instead of my name I was given at birth. And it kind of messed with my mind. It's almost like it's like there's a lot of confusion in the mind because this is literally an entity. Okay, this is literally an entity. Let me just say this. I'm gonna use this for an example. I don't know this for sure. This is what I heard somebody else say, and I'm just gonna use it as an example. Somebody talked about young Pharaoh and how he got this tattoo of the Eye of Horus on his eye. Same thing what Polite did, right? And they noticed that he started acting strange since he got that tattoo on his eye. And one person speculated and said that's that energy. That's the energy of Ra, right? I think somebody said Ra. That's the energy that's kind of possessing him. Okay. I have some things I want to say about that energy, but a lot of people, I don't know if people still worship Egypt or whatever. They worship in the idea of Egypt, and they worship that entity Ra. That entity Ra, I feel like it's over a lot of religions too, by the way, but I'm not going to get on that. But anyway, so the point is that ever since he got that tattoo, they noticed he been acting a little strange, like he's been going kind of crazy. And it's really that entity taking over his mind, and young Pharaoh's no longer young Pharaoh, but that entity is completely taking over his mind. Okay. And so that's just an example. I don't know that for sure because I'm not paying enough attention to young Pharaoh like that. I don't watch him close enough to notice a lot of changes with him. I don't watch him closely enough to even document when he started changing, but somebody else said they noticed that. But the only reason I brought up that example is not about young Pharaoh. It's just to kind of show an example of what I'm talking about with this nickname. Like, for example, this nickname, I'm just going to say Sue. That I've been carrying this nickname since I was little. I've been carrying this nickname since I was little. And finally, when I got to the age in my late 30s, I'm just going to say 2017. I forgot what age I might have been. I don't know. Was it 39 or something? I think it might have been 39. I don't know. Anyway, I decided to get rid of it. I decided to get rid of that name. And then a thought form came to me, like something came to me and said that person, for example, Sue, say Sue is evil. The thought came to me when I woke up in the morning. You know how when you wake up early in the morning, you halfway between awake and asleep, and that's kind of sometimes you can get messages that way. The message came to me saying Sue is evil. So this is a real being. This is a real energy that is kind of almost taken over my whole mind since I was a little girl. Now I say that to say I tried to explain this to my biological mother because I got rid of the people that the mother that raised me and all that stuff. They're the ones that were doing all the dangerous stuff towards me. Okay. And then my nickname came from that side of the family anyway. Came from my grandmother on her side of the family, the woman who raised me, because she's still a relative. She's not a stranger, you know. And so my biological mother, who is not related to the one who raised me, I tried to get her not to call me that nickname anymore. I said, why don't you call me the name that you gave me at birth? I said, you need to call me the name that you gave me at birth, right? Every time I would talk to her, and I explained to her exactly what I just said to you, I explained that to her. That thing is a very negative, evil entity, and that's what came to me, and I even seen what it looked like. It looked like a little girl it looked like a woman that's a few years older than me, so she could be in her 50s, could have been in her 50s by now. But something happened to her as a little girl where she didn't get to grow up, because I see a woman that looked like late 40s or 50s, but she got pigtails or something, like she's like has arrested development. Okay, this is somebody, I don't know if she was killed as a little girl. I don't know what happened, but that energy wanted to take over me. And I could not get pregnant. I went to a shaman in 2017 and said, good thing that you didn't get pregnant, because that energy was gonna try. Well, no, that's not what the shaman said. The shaman said, good thing that you haven't had any babies. But somebody else who can see things, who's a seer, said that energy is trying to be born through you. Okay, it's trying to be born through me. So that's why I said before, everybody don't need to have no babies because somebody else tell them to have babies. Everybody don't need to have babies. And quite frankly, I think a lot of folks might have given birth to some interesting energies here. You know, don't matter what you do for them, they're just going to be something else, because you don't realize what you gave birth to. Every child is not a gift from God. And who is God? You know. That's just a question. That's not me telling people what to believe. That's a real question. God, as I know it, is a title. A God is, let's say this. Elon Musk is going to be a God over, like, say if he create some new sentient beings. People say AI, whatever, but if it's going to be his creation and they're sentient and they operate just like regular people do, he's going to be their God, because he's going to be their creator. You see what I'm saying? So who's God? Because God is a creator, but this is a simulation. So is God the creator of this simulation? Okay? That's just what but I don't want to go too far into that. I'm just saying every child is not a gift. Okay? And, and so going back to saying when you start a new chapter in your life, you have to cut some things off and cut people off. I had to completely stop talking to my birth mother. And in turn, of course, I stopped talking to my sister and all that stuff. I just didn't answer her calls anymore. And she eventually just stopped calling, stopped reaching out and everything. Because she doesn't get how serious that is. I kept asking her not to call me that name, and I explained her why. That I get a lot of attacks. And at the time I was speaking to her, I was kind of dealing with a lot more, okay? I was dealing with a very heavy load at the time. Spiritually, I was dealing with a very, very heavy load. And I asked her not to call me that name. I don't know if she was forgetting, but I kept asking her not to call me that name and to call me the name that you gave me at birth. And she just couldn't seem to remember, so I had to stop answering her phone calls. It seems small to them, and that's why I can't ever talk to them again. Because it seems small to you because it's not happening to you. And let me tell you something, you can call me nasty or whatever, but when people act like that, when people minimize the stuff you go through, it really makes me want to send these demons to them and let these demons harass them to no end until they figure out how to get rid of them for good. I hate it when folks want to minimize things that you go through. Okay, and because she didn't see it as a problem, I saw it as a problem because I was dealing with it every single doggone day. Spiritual warfare every single doggone day. That thing has been attached to me for almost 40 years. I send it away, and you think it's not going to put up a fight to come back and stay? That thing became me. Okay, I was taken from my body, and that thing literally took over. You think it's not going to put up a fight to stay? I asked her not to call me that name, and she couldn't get it through her head, so I never spoke to her again. And I just had to cut her off because it was bothering me to talk to her, and she couldn't get it. And it was like it was, I was vexed all the time. I was constantly vexed because she couldn't get it. And I was trying not to cut her off. You know. But anyway, I just haven't talked to her again. If they think that's small, and that just goes to show that's why I can never speak to them again. That's the reason why I can never speak to them again, because they think all that stuff, and they can't take it seriously because they don't understand that life. That's not their reality. That's not their reality. So they don't get it. They think it's just a bunch of mumbo jumbo going on. Okay, even though they're Christians, they don't get it. Anyway, so yeah, I just said to say I want to just use that example to talk about why it's best when you are starting another whole chapter in your life, you're basically starting off as a whole new person. You know how you can't put new wine into old wineskins? Like I'm completely releasing everything I was in the past and starting brand new as a brand new child, newborn, like a newborn baby. And I'm releasing everything from other previous so-called incarnations too, because this is assimilation. That means none of it ever happened. Assimilation means something like whatever, like life. It's not real. And so I'm not going to hold on to my past life. I didn't have a past life. This is assimilation. I did not have a past life. Okay? I didn't. Now maybe somebody else did. Because everybody don't want to believe this is assimilation. And that's fine with me, because I am not one to take. This is why I'm not into religion. See, when you are in a religion, you feel like you have to force somebody to believe what you have to believe. I'm not a religious person, so I feel like you believe whatever you want to, because you are where you are supposed to be at the moment. If you are meant to move beyond that, something's going to happen in your life to cause you to get you on a process of moving beyond certain beliefs, because that's what happened to me. And it happens in stages. Okay, because nothing would have made me stop being a Christian. I was very loyal, but I ended up stopping. Then I started studying the Hebrew Israelite, but I wasn't really into it, just studying it. And then I left that alone. You know, that didn't stick. But then that's when I started getting into the higher self. But then I let higher self could be higher versions of your ego, stuff like that. And so I'm more into what you would call pure awareness. I'm more going towards living in the present, learning how to live in the present. Okay, that way everything in daily life just doesn't bother you like that. Whatever somebody think, all these thought forms, just kind of get rid of all these thought forms. It's assimilation. Just live in the present. None of it's actually happening. But we live day by day in assimilation. We carry on like things are really happening, but it's not really happening. And so, no, I'm just basically getting rid of everything from the past. Pretty much as being as an occupational therapist. I've been an occupational therapist for 20 years. Now, I'm not going to completely let it go, but I'm going to start a new chapter. I mean, when I say not let it go, I'm going to keep my license and all that stuff. Keep it active and stuff like that. Like my parents, well, I don't call them my parents anymore, but retired, but they still keeping a license active when my father passed away. But, the other one, I'm pretty sure she's still keeping her license active, even though she's been retired for a number of years now. Quite a few years she's been retired. I want to say it's probably been close to 20 years she's been retired, but I'm pretty sure that license is still active, and that's what I mean. I can always keep it active, because if it's inactive for such a long time, and you decide to get into it again, which I hope I don't decide to do that, but just in case, I just keep it active. All right? Keep it active. You know, get my CEUs or whatever. Get everything I need to keep it active. Don't let it go. You know, you work too hard for it. You know, still you work too hard for it. But anyway, yeah, but I'm moving on to another chapter, and that is getting rid of everything. I'm literally releasing all memories. Like, I don't want nothing. I don't want to hold on to anything that so-called happened, because it never happened. So I want to let it all go and release anything that caused me to hold on to those memories. Release it all. Release everything, because it's just not, at this point, it's not doing me any good. At some point, it did do me good to get to me to where I am, the way I'm feeling now, to get me to the stage of my life that I'm in now. It did me some good to get me here. But now at this point, I can just let all that go. I can just let that go. You know, release it. Okay? But anyway, it's about time for me to go. I just wanted to say that real quickly about, you know, when you're moving on to another chapter in your life, you know, just in wanting to really release the past and release old narratives, most often that's going to have to include releasing family, because they are the ones that's holding on to the past. They are the ones that's they're holding on to a lot of patterns, and you are included in a lot of their patterns, and they don't want to release that. It might not be for them to release it. They're not your real family. Not in assimilation, they're not your real family. Okay? But I'm not going to say, like I said, I'm not going to try to get people to believe the things I believe. I know those aren't my real family. So somebody say you only get one mother. Well, if my belief that this is assimilation, I've already seen what my body is sleeping. I've already seen where I am in another dimension. I've looked at my body. I know what I look like. So I know what my real family looks like. And so, no, I don't just get one mother, because that woman is not my mother. She's a false mother. She's not my mother. She never gave birth to me, and the one who supposedly gave, the one that I just got finished saying is my birth mother, she never gave birth to me. It's assimilation. Nobody gave birth to me in the assimilation, because I'm sleeping. If you ever seen a movie called The 13th Floor, or any other movie, where they laying down, and then when they lay down, they have these programs, and so like basically he's in the 2000s, but then in assimilation he's going back to the 1950s. Well, obviously in the 1950s he's going to have a different mother. So him and his friend, I guess, created this simulation, this computer thing, this simulation. And so they lay down, and he's actually out just for like an hour. But in a simulation, it looks like days pass by, like days literally pass by. And when he wake up, it's just been an hour. Now in this case, it could be 1,000 years pass by, and it's not even a whole day yet. It's not even a whole day. It could literally be 3 hours or something, or even less than 3 hours, and 1,000 years pass by. You know. But anyway, that's what I want to say. Yeah, everything's programs, you know. In this simulation, it's all programs. And because I've come to that realization, I'm getting to the point where it's starting to get deeper. Like, it's getting deep, like a deeper understanding that this is all, it's none of it's real. The person that you think gave birth to you did not give birth to you. None of this stuff happened. It's an experience. That's all it is. And because I want to let that go, and I'm dealing with, you have family that don't want to even understand that, and they don't have to, but I have to let them go. I have to let them go, because it's time to move on. It's time to move forward. No. But anyway, that'll be it, and I'll talk later.